of all of the different topics that we can talk about related to investing, this is probably my favorite, because at the end of the day, this is, at least for me and my family, the whole point of investing in real estate is to fund our ideal lifestyle. And so for my family and I, that means travel, that means experience, that means adventure, going on bucket list trips, hanging out with our friends, taking our families to different fun, exotic places. And so tonight we're going to talk about how you can actually incorporate travel, but have it potentially paid for or primarily funded through the activities that you're already doing with your investment portfolio. So super excited to get into this topic tonight. I do want to introduce my co-host, co-presenter here, Merrily Matthews. Hey, Merrily, wave if you can. Hi. So I've known Merrily for, I don't know, is it 5 years now, 4 or 5 years? With the pandemic, I feel like time has kind of collapsed. Yeah. So there's like 2 years there, and maybe we met before that. But we, instantly hit it off, obviously talking about out-of-state investing. Merrily is from Seattle. I'm originally from Seattle, now living in Phoenix. And yeah, through conversation, we got to somehow talking about travel hacking, which again is a passion of mine. And, Merrily started talking about how she does it, which is a little bit different than me. And I'm super excited to have you here tonight so that I can learn from you, because I have not implemented yet what you are going to be talking about tonight. So super excited to have you here.
Great.
Awesome. And so for those of you that are just joining us, we do these fun virtual meetups, is what we call them. They started, we kind of started our group in Seattle, meeting every single month. And then due to COVID, we kind of went virtual. And now we have this, I would say, almost like global community of investors from coast to coast, kind of in all different states. And so it's really fun to just kind of connect with you guys on a monthly basis on just different fun topics. So again, tonight it's going to be just a light, fun conversation related to this topic of travel hacking. I will admit I am not an expert in this. I don't consider myself an expert. I really started learning about it, I would say, in maybe late 2017. Have probably consumed thousands of hours of YouTube videos trying to figure out how people do this. And Merrily and I are going to try to condense, maybe, I don't know, Merrily, how much time you've spent.
Way too much.
Right. Those late night YouTube videos learning about all of this. So we're going to try to collapse those thousands of hours for you guys tonight and just give you maybe the top things that you need to know. And so we'll just kind of go through some slides. Again, it's just meant to be super fun. Feel free to ask us questions. We'll probably go through the slides and then do Q&A at the end. And then Merrily and I will do our best to kind of help you answer any questions that you guys have related to this to the best of our knowledge based on our experience. Sound good? Everybody, thumbs up, ready? Awesome, great. And also this is recorded, so I tend to talk fast. I will try to make it as simple as possible and maybe not talk too fast, because some of these techniques and strategies are a little advanced and kind of maybe could be a little bit confusing. So it is recorded. If you guys want to rewatch or certainly ask, clarifying questions at the end, please do so. We're here to help. This is just going to be fun. So awesome. All right, let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so you can all, it'll keep us on track. Hit slideshow. Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. All right, perfect. All right, so as mentioned, tonight we are talking all about travel hacking and ideally how to use your real estate investing to fund your travels. All right, so here's what we're going to cover, just kind of an overview. Again, we're collapsing thousands of hours of learning about this into, maybe 30 minutes of content and some questions. But I want to share, I kind of want to start with you guys, maybe some of my favorite travel hacking redemptions. Some just fun trips that we've been able to take by using this kind of strategy and staying in some luxury hotels and flying business class that I otherwise wouldn't have been willing to pay for, that we essentially got for free. So I'll kind of give you guys an overview of that. Then I want to kind of tell you how to get started, at least from my perspective, of the easiest way to get started on how to do this. I'm going to share some of my favorite cards sitting here next to me and just kind of give you guys some feedback. There's a lot of, I think, strategy behind, which cards to use and when. So I'll give my feedback, and I'm sure Merrily will chime in and share her feedback on that as well. Then I want to kind of talk about the how you actually redeem points and miles. Some fun advanced strategies that I've picked up along the way. And then we're going to turn it over to Merrily, who will talk about how she flies for free and has flown for free for years with her entire family using some hacks with Southwest Airlines. All right, so, but first I want to kind of take you guys back to how I actually became a travel hacker. Again, this is kind of a side passion project for me, but it started with this trip. My family and I had planned a 10-week trip to Southeast Asia. I started planning this trip back in, I would say, late 2017. And that happened to be a time in our lives where we had I think we had 6 renovations going on, and we were building a build to rent duplex, which meant we had a lot of money going out, reinvesting into our properties. And I think, our build costs in this duplex back then was about $350,000. So you bet I was putting everything that I could on credit cards once I learned about this strategy. And my goal was I wanted to have the most luxury experience that I could for my family and essentially not have to pay for it. And so we were able to fly. This is my daughter, who was 3 at the time, and my husband. We flew business class to China. It was a 15-hour flight. And guys, if you've ever flown more than maybe 8 hours, business class, the lie flat seats, it's like next level. So this was my first experience flying for that many hours, and for 2 in business class. I think that the value of those flights, probably about $2,500 a person, maybe more. So a considerable amount of money that we essentially got for free, plus some taxes. So that's how we were able to do that. I used Alaska Airlines points, which was a transfer partner to Hainan Airlines, which is one of the more, I would say, luxury experiences flying business class. And then we were able to do some kind of regional travel flying first class with Singapore Airlines, which is also an incredible experience. I think everyone needs to do that at some point in their life. So yeah, we were able to make it to China, and I think we hit up maybe 7 other countries while we were there, all pretty much on points and miles. Another really fun trip. We spent about 6 weeks traveling around Germany. We did France, we did Czech Republic, and we were able to go to Austria. And there's this really fancy hotel that is directly across the street from the opera there, called the Bristol Hotel. And if you're going to Vienna, you want to stay at the Bristol Hotel. We were able to stay there for 2 nights free because it is a part of the, I think this one's a Marriott hotel. It's a Marriott luxury brand hotel. So over $500 a night. So $1,000 value, 2 nights free in Vienna. I have this really fun photo of my daughter sitting in this very fancy elevator where it had it's the first elevator I've ever seen where it has like seats, these leather seats in it. She thought it was the coolest thing. I snapped a photo, and it was a really, really great time. We've also, Merrily, I think that you've done this as well, this hack with Hyatt at the Andes Resort in Costa Rica. So we stayed 4 nights free at this resort by transferring points. These rooms are going for about $1,200 a night, $1,100 to $1,200 a night. So about $4,200 value. We had spent, I think this trip was maybe a 5 or 7 week. I think we spent 5 weeks in Costa Rica, 2 weeks in Puerto Rico, traveling all around. And then it was a great stay at this hotel. They also gave my daughter this little sloth that she loved that we still have today. And then that last photo there, that is of our shower. So huge walk-in shower, my husband sitting in the back, taking photos of the monkeys that were staring at us from the little trees back there. So really, really fun stay there. And then our last trip that we just came back to the US after spending about 4 months traveling Europe, found a great option to come back to the US on Turkish Airlines. It was Istanbul direct to Dallas Fort Worth for 35,000 points, for 35,000 miles and smiles points. Because these tickets, the value is $12,000. I literally told my husband, I said, I kind of just want to go back to Turkey because I don't know if it's still, I mean, I looked maybe 2 months ago and they still had that deal going. But yeah, 35,000 points, business class, one way, DFW, Istanbul. We had a great time. I would say that this was probably even better than, I was right up there with Singapore Airlines. And so again, you know, husband and daughter really enjoying that. I've in some ways kind of spoiled her. Now she's asked, you know, are we getting the lie flat seats? So keep in mind when you implement this strategy, you may spoil your kids a little bit. But anyways, really, really great fun time. We had a great time traveling Europe and then ending in Turkey with this great flight home. All right, so let's talk about how this all works. So hopefully I've given you guys some inspiration on how you can do this too, but let's kind of talk about the how. So number one is what I tend to do is I research the bonus offers for signing up for a new credit card. So I do want to put a pause here and say, I'm not one for, you know, consumer debt. I actually have like zero consumer debt. We have a lot of mortgage leverage, of course, on our properties. But the intention here is that we use these credit cards to pay bills that we would already pay, ideally, most of the time, renovations on properties, and we pay it off every single month. So again, we're not carrying balances on this card. It is very expensive to do that because a lot of these cards have, I don't know, 11, 12% interest rate sometimes. So just want to make sure that everyone knows that we're not carrying balances on these cards. It's paid off every single month. But you know, the whole purpose is to kind of hack the system, if you will, meaning we're using these credit card companies to pay for the bills, which allows us to earn points for all of those spend, and then also bonus points for signing up for new cards. So again, sign up for a new card and you meet the minimum spend to earn the bonus. And as an example, Capital One recently launched this new card. It's a Capital One Venture X. It is a premium card. So some cards have I would say a small annual fee, anywhere from maybe $50 to, I think our Amex Platinum has an annual fee of $697 a year, right? So that can get expensive. And then some cards also have zero fees. So if you don't have a lot of spend, maybe you're not, you don't have high renovations, but you see a great bonus offer for a zero annual fee card. Sometimes they also waive the annual fee in the first year. So kind of pay attention to that. But yeah, as an example, somebody could sign up for the Venture X card today. They would earn 75,000 miles if you spend $4,000 within 3 months. Well, for me, I can spend $4,000 on flooring for one unit, right? So really, really easy for me to meet these minimum spends. And so that's kind of how we accumulate a lot of these miles. And then number three is basically you accumulate these miles and then you transfer these points to travel partners or redeem them directly. So for example, Chase has 14 airline and hotel transfer partners. American Express has 17 airline and 3 hotel transfer partners. Capital One has 15 transfer partners. Marriott has 41 airline transfer partners, right? So there's some kind of strategic planning here based on maybe a trip that you want to do, or maybe you want more of your hotels to be paid for. Maybe you travel mostly by vehicle in the US and you just want your hotels to be paid for, then I would strategically pick cards based on their transfer partners in that way. Merrily, do you have any, I kind of go into a little bit more detail here, but do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do. So what I would do when you're trying to figure out what credit card strategy you want to go with, what I would do is figure out where you want to travel first.
Yep.
And then after that, what you can do is go into Wikipedia and put in the airport for wherever you want to travel to, and it'll tell you which airlines fly to that airport, and then you can back it out to figure out, okay, I want to fly into here. I know it has, Delta flies there. So then which points and miles should I collect in order to get on those flights?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah, we kind of change our travel plans every year. We don't necessarily have similar places that we go all the time, but you're right, barely. So if I mean, there's a whole strategy even with Disney people. If you go to Disneyland every single year, you go to Mexico every year, or Las Vegas, or New York, or LA, there's an entire strategy around picking strategic cards based on the airlines and also the hub, and then also for the hotels that you want to be staying at. So glad that you brought that up, Merrily. Awesome. Great. All right. So I want to tell you guys about some of my favorite cards. And I have them right here. So this is the American Express Platinum card. I like this one for a couple of reasons. It is a premium card. I'm going to tell you guys some hacks around how I get kind of out of paying the annual fee. But the American Express Platinum has, you get 5 points when you book flights. You also get some hotel and airline credits. We also get gold status with Marriott. We get priority pass, which allows you to get into it's kind of a network of lounges at the airports, which is great. They also have their own branded lounge, which is the Centurion Lounge. Love the Centurion Lounge. It's fantastic. So we really enjoy, we essentially don't have to do, buying the overpriced, unhealthy airline food. We go to the Centurion Lounge, eat our breakfast, eat our lunch, eat our dinner. They have a lot of kind of perks for that. Same thing, we get Hertz Gold. So we do a lot of rental cars, things like that. The annual fee, though, is now $695 for the American Express Platinum. So this is something, again, you really want to weigh the benefits and make sure that it makes sense for you. When I first got this card, it was $550, so it's gone up. I am certainly not keeping it at $695 for the annual fee. But again, I'll tell you guys a little bit of hack around how you can get out of that. Another one that I really like that my husband has, because we have kind of a strategy around that, is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. This is an old one because it got overused. We get 3x travel credits. Of course, TSA PreCheck, pretty much any card that's premium card has TSA PreCheck, rental car coverage, extended warranty. There's an entire list of all of these. I haven't included everything. My advice would be to Google these cards and also just kind of see what all the benefits are and weigh the benefits and make sure that it makes sense for you. That card is $550 a year. So again, you're going to want to make sure that that makes sense for you based on your spending habits, based on the perks and benefits that you'd want from these cards. I also have, so I used to fly Alaska Airlines because I was from Seattle. Now in Phoenix, they don't have as many Alaska Airlines flights, so I'm going to be changing this strategy. But yeah, we have 3 of these Alaska Airlines signature cards. And so we get a lot of points from Alaska by meeting minimum spend, of course, and then also just using these cards for different purchases. Alaska has some pretty unique transfer partners. They've also just recently got into I think it's the One World, I guess, network, if you will, of airlines. And so we tend to use these Alaska Airlines miles for business class flights on other airlines. So again, there's a lot of European airlines and also Asian airlines that they have partners with, so we can transfer miles that way. I also don't have it in front of me, but I also have a Marriott card. Marriott gives us, I think it's 6x points for spending at Marriott hotels. We automatically get gold status with Marriott because we have the American Express Platinum card. So that essentially gets us, I believe it's 15 nights a year automatically. And so I think at this point we're like Platinum Elite, which means we get the upgraded rooms, we get suite nights, we get a lot of different benefits for staying with the Marriott brand hotels. We also stay at quite a few Hyatt. So it's Marriott and Hyatt. We also have a status with Hyatt. Status just means that you're a frequent flyer or you're a frequent, you frequently stay at these hotels. And so there's a lot of perks and benefits in doing so. Merrily, what are your favorite cards right now?
My favorite cards are the Chase Trifecta. And so I have Chase Sapphire, which is an older one than your Reserve. So I only get 2 times travel. The Chase Ink and the Chase Freedom. And the way I use these is the Freedom has quarterly bonuses for different things like gas and grocery stores up to a certain amount every quarter. So I use that for that. The ink card I use, you get 5 times the points anytime you go to a office supply store, so Staples or Office Max. So what I use this card for is often I don't buy many office supplies, but I go and I buy gift cards there. So all my Amazon purchase, I get 5 times the points. All my gas, I get 5 times the points. And then I transfer all those points from those cards into the Sapphire. And the Sapphire I really like to use because I get travel points, plus it's has me first on car rental insurance.
Yes.
So, you know, a lot of cards have you as the secondary on rentals, and this one has you on your primary. Unlike Jennifer, I don't use Hertz. I have found Costco Travel has the best rental car rates. And then the other thing I wanted to add, so there's those, and then there's all the Southwest cards, which I'll talk about later. The other thing with Alaskan Airlines is you can get as many cards from them as your little heart desires.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other thing you need to be aware of with the Chase cards, which the Southwest is part of the Chase umbrella, they have something called a 524 rule. So you cannot get your sign-up bonuses from their cards if you've had 5 credit card applications in the last 24 months. So you really have to kind of pick from any brand. It doesn't have to be just Chase.
Yeah.
So you really have to pick your strategy well. I mean, I used to flip 5 cards every 3 months. Yeah. And I can't, as soon as they did that 524 rule, all that went out the window and I had to change my strategy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We have a spreadsheet that we keep track of that. And then my husband and I take turns with cards. And so we could, there's a whole kind of strategy around that. But if you're thinking, I mean, again, if you have a high spend because you're doing a lot of renovations with, rental properties, then I would absolutely go for the Chase cards first, because a lot of the other brands and the banks don't have those same requirements. So save those for last after you've gotten your Chase cards, and also kind of figure out a strategy with your spouse or partner on how you can kind of divide and conquer with this.
Yep.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So how we redeem points. Okay. So I found myself in a situation where we had hundreds of thousands of points. Now, I would say this is probably the most challenging part for me. I think figuring out which cards to sign up for, meeting those minimum spends, getting the bonuses is pretty easy. Now, when it comes to redeeming the points, especially because I'm going all over the world, staying in different places, different hotels, sometimes Airbnbs, it can be a little bit tricky to try to figure out what points I can use for what airlines. And sometimes it's kind of transferring and or buying points if we're missing out on a few. So I like to use awardwallet.com to kind of organize everything. I also do a lot of searches on Google Flights. As Merrily had mentioned, I like to kind of search the flights maybe in advance of the trip to kind of figure out which airlines I want to go for and their availability. I also use Skyscanner for that as well. And then there's a new website, Merrily, I don't know if you've heard about this. I recently just signed up. I would say it's new within maybe the last month. It's called point.me. And if you put in a travel itinerary and then link it to all of your card accounts, it will actually tell you where you can get the basically how to redeem those points and for what flights, and then what those points balance will be and what it would need to be.
Nice.
Game changer. Yeah. I'll be honest with you guys. I've probably spent hours trying to research where can I get those Turkish airline business class flights. That was pretty easy. It was like, okay, I need to get my miles into Miles and Smiles. Miles and Smiles is a transfer partner with Marriott. And then I can also transfer, I think I did Chase points to Marriott to get to Turkish. And then you had to do some math on so it's like 3 points from Marriott to get to 1 Turkish Airlines mile, but then they were doing a little bonus. So again, it can get a little bit tedious, but it's so worth it. I mean, again, I would guess we've saved $50,000 or more. Probably more than that.
Yeah,
on travel.
That seems low.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it could be more than that. But so this is kind of how I use it. Merrily, do you have anything to add on the actual redemption of points?
I would say Award Wallet is definitely my go-to, but there are definitely certain airlines like Southwest that Award Wallet can't track. So you have to know kind of the ins and outs of that piece of it. And our family tends to spend, we tend to do Airbnbs because we like to cook wherever we go. Again, family of four, it gets pricey to go out for $100 breakfast. That's ridiculous. And so I don't use as much of my points for hotels as I do just straight for airlines.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also, kind of what are these points worth? And then does it make sense to redeem them versus just paying for it? So there's some considerations there as well. A lot of times I will also, if it's business travel, I will pay for it. If it's because it's write-off. If it's a personal travel, then I will travel hack it.
Yeah. The other thing to know, another good travel hack is that British Airways, you can use British Airways points on Alaskan metal. So when I say Alaskan metal, it means an Alaskan airplane. So for those of us who are in Seattle, lots of times I could book a flight on Alaskan Airlines through British Air for less points than what Alaskan Airline was having the exact same flight for. So, and the way I got my British Air points is I used all my Chase Ultimate Rewards points and downloaded it into that and did it that way. So there's different ways to use the systems if you want to get in the weeds to save yourself points.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great one. I think it's almost like, in some ways, like needing a matrix of where can I get these points and then how can I be more efficient on there. And same with, sometimes you can find better deals like, Delta versus American versus United, things like that. All right, so I want to just kind of give some advanced strategies that I've learned. Number one is I like to stack rewards, which means I use a credit card that's going to earn me the highest points. At one point, my husband said, I need you to write on these cards which one I'm supposed to use, because we would go to a certain store and I'm like, nope, not that card, this one. Nope, use this one for dining. And so anyways, again, go to whatever extent feels right to you. But yes, we use, the correct credit card and a portal link. So I like to use, cashbackmonitor.com. And so anytime I'm buying anything online, I go to cashbackmonitor.com. I type that website in there, and then it will list out all of the different, I would say, reward portals. And, sometimes you can use a certain link that'll give you additional points over and beyond just using the credit card. So I've done a lot of, I think I had a whole blog post on how I got a whole set of appliances for a couple $1,000s off by kind of using some hacks in this way. Number two, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Know that Ultimate Rewards, which is the Chase, is not on there anymore. You have to go through Ultimate Rewards shopping in order to use their points.
Oh, okay. Good point.
So they've dropped off of Cashback Monitor.
Got it. Okay. Thanks for adding that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. So number two, of course, sign your kids up for mileage accounts. It's really funny. So my daughter is, I think she's MVP gold with Alaska Airlines because of all of our flights. Also know too, when we go to Europe, a lot of times we've flown with Condor Airlines, which is a travel partner for Alaska. And when we get back, we just say, hey, Alaska, give us credit for this Condor Airlines flight, which then means we get more miles for Alaska, which is what we use more than what we would use Condor. So also kind of consider as you're checking out for maybe flights, and they have that questionnaire where it says which rewards category do you want to use, and it gives you options like, Alaska, American, all of these different things, or even just that airline or that company. Go ahead and use the company that you'll be using the most, right? So again, a lot of times I'll do Alaska, not just like a one-off airline, and earn miles that way. Merrily had already mentioned the Chase 524 rule, so we won't talk about that. Number 4, retention offers. So earlier I had mentioned that the Amex Platinum is $695 every year, right? So not just the first year you sign up. So every year, about 30 days before my renewal, I call to cancel. And I say, hey, I know my renewal's coming up. I'd like to cancel this card. I'm not using it enough to justify the $695 fee. And they, I would say 9 times out of 10, give you a retention offer. The last retention offer that I got, it brought it down to $50 a year. $50 a year. So again, $695 to $50 a year. So again, try it out. If they say no, cancel the card. If it's not worth spend, there's I would say kind of a diminishing return on some of these more high annual fee cards. So every year, call, see if they offer you a retention offer. Every single time we've done this, we've gotten a great retention offer that pretty much brought it down to maybe $100 a year or less. Another option, if everything that we talked about sounds great and you can accumulate a lot of miles, but this idea of spending hours trying to figure out how to get points from one place to another, you can also, there's people out there that you can pay that will do this for you. So I have done that before. I was like hitting my head against the wall. I had like 500,000 miles and I wanted to get business class flights back from Asia after we had gone there. And I could not figure out for the life of me how to get these business class flights for free, but I knew I had a lot of miles. I paid somebody, I think it was, I want to say it was like $200. And within minutes they said, oh, just transfer your United points to Air Canada and then book one flight there and then take your daughter's account from Chase. And anyways, they knew how to do it. We got it booked within minutes. It was worth it for me to pay $200 to somebody else who knew exactly what they were doing so that I could get, I mean, those flights were probably $10,000 or more. So total for the 3 of us. So yeah, there's people out there, you can pay them. They'll do it for you, spend your miles, tell you how to do it. And then you don't have to worry about it. There's also some free courses about how to do all of this. I'll share, maybe in the replay, we'll share a link. And so again, we're just kind of scratching the surface in this like 30-minute discussion here. But yeah, I can share with you guys. I took this free course. It's from the Choose Fi guys. And to be honest, I don't remember what the course is called right now, but we'll get you guys the link. The next thing that I do so that Istanbul to DFW flight, I heard about that because I subscribe to all of the travel hacker blogger blogs. And I use a service called Feedly. And basically you can go in and subscribe to all of the blogs that you want to follow, but you won't get emails. So it's nice because I don't like a cluttered inbox, but I can go into Feedly and just kind of review all of the threads. It'll just give you a subject line for that blog post. You can click it and then go from there. So maybe once a week when I have a free hour, I will go into Feedly. And that is how I found that DFW flight for 35,000 miles one way. That would have been thousands of dollars. And so I just followed the instruction in the blog post, transferred the miles, and got that taken care of in that way. Merrily, do you have anything to add?
I often use Retail Me Not in combination with Cashback Monitor, which is basically a coupon site. I too have given the example of buying a $700 grill and getting 2,400 points for that, depending on how I use my cards and stack it. So it is the way to go to build up your points for sure. And the other, I can talk about the other, well, no, I'll talk about it now. The other way is like, if you don't think you can meet your minimum spends for these credit cards, there's ways to do preemptive spending. So like I'll go and get my gas cards from Office Max, and so that I'll have those, or even grocery store cards or Starbucks cards. And then, I'm kind of front loading my spend at that point. The other thing I love to do is I just put out a text to all my neighbors and say, hey, I'm going to Costco. And I run to Costco and I buy all their groceries when I'm there, and I get all the points for doing that. and then they just Venmo me the money, and that is just a
Yeah.
sweet way of
Yep.
quickly meeting your minimum spends. So
I love that. Yeah, we do that with our friends too. When we travel, we say, "Oh, we'll pay for it on our credit card," and yeah, you just reimburse us, and then we get all
right,
the points.
yeah,
So
exactly.
awesome. Okay, really good tips. All right, Merrily, I'm going to give you center stage here.
Okay.
And yeah, why don't you tell everybody about how you use Southwest Airlines to fly for free? And you've done this for years with your entire family.
Yep. So it's my husband and I, and we have two school-age kids who are now teenagers. We've been doing this for about 8 years now. My husband is a firefighter, and so his schedule's all wonky, and schedules are all kind of funky around our household. So I chose Southwest as kind of our main strategy because we could take quicker trips within the United States, as well as making kind of preemptive trips, like the trip to Italy. I flew Southwest to Baltimore and then took Lufthansa into Italy. So Southwest got us there, and then I could finish the rest of the trip that way. I also assumed that we would want shorter flights, and so that was part of the domestic, and plus I was able to go to Mexico. And now you can also go to Hawaii. They've opened it up for Hawaii. But all those flights are out of San Francisco and out of California, not out of Seattle, unfortunately. So Southwest, most people are familiar with, I have my little crib sheet up here, so most people are familiar with Alaskan Airlines. And so Alaskan Airlines, you get a flight, you get your companion pass, it's $121. The primary flyer, though, has to pay cash. So you're paying cash as the primary flyer, plus the $121 for your companion. On Southwest, you can pay, as the primary flyer, you can pay for your flight with points, and your companion flies for free. And you can make that last close to 2 years for as many flights as your companion wants to go on. So it's not limited to just one flight. And so this really worked out well for our family of 4. My husband and I both get companion passes, and then our kids fly for $5.60, which is usually what the taxes are. It's more when you go into Mexico. And so it's been awesome. I mean, we've flown all kinds of places that we normally would not have gone. So what I do is I buy, the way the structure is right now with the sign-up bonuses, you need 125,000 rapid rewards points. And so you can easily get that, say, like all their personal cards are 40,000 spend, or 40,000 sign up bonus for $1,000 spend in 3 months. And then you get anniversary points and stuff like that as well. The business cards, there's one for 60,000 and one for 80,000. So if you can do, and those have 3,000 spend and 5,000 spend. So you can pretty quickly do the math that if I get the 80,000 business and a 40,000 personal, that's 120 plus the 6,000 that I have to do for my spends. It's 126,000. I've met the requirement. Super simple. The way you work this, though, is that you wait around November, December. Southwest will start doing kind of sales on their credit cards. They'll start to up the bonus miles. But what you want to do is get the cards in November and December and not finish your minimum spends until January of the following year, because then what happens, so for instance, if this is 2022, if I start spending on my cards in 2022 and I put all my Christmas stuff on them, but I don't finish the actual spends until January of 2023, then I have all of 2023 plus all of 2024 to use my companion pass. And I have 125,000 points that I get to use as the primary traveler. So I noticed earlier this week, I couldn't find it today, but earlier this week, they were doing a special where they were like, oh, we'll give you 30,000 sign-up miles and a companion pass. And for like 3,000 for your minimum spend. Well, that's great. You get the companion pass for a year, but then you only have 33,000 miles to use as the primary flyer. So it didn't make sense. So when I say free, it's not totally free. These cards do come with annual fees anywhere from $69 to $199. As far as I'm concerned, that's free because of how often we used it, how many trips we would take in a year. The cards have different, what's the word I want? Perks that come with them. For instance, the Performance Business Card, which is the higher, the 80,000 miles, it comes with free Wi-Fi. You get $100 per year reimbursement for your global entry or your TSA pre-check. So it comes with different things like that. But really, that's it. It's a little difficult to go in and figure out how to do the companion. It's not necessarily intuitive. When you go in to make your flight arrangements, you as the primary flyer have to make your flight arrangements, and then you have to go back in and add your companion to it. I will say the negatives of Southwest is, especially out of Seattle, if I'm going anywhere, I'm either going through Phoenix, Denver, Houston to get to Mexico. I have to go through Houston, Midway. So there's no real way, there's no direct flights. Every Southwest flight you take, it's going to take longer than Alaskan Airlines, and there's going to be a stopover. But for us, when we were on one income, that worked really well. It's like, okay, we have a little more time, we can shuffle that a little bit more than the money kind of thing. And again, if you're worried about meeting your minimum spends, my guess is this group isn't going to be as much because you have construction costs. But you can do it through Cashback Monitor and things like that to boost up your spending. Let me talk a little bit about my trip to Italy. So the way we did this is I did Southwest flights for the 4 of us to the East Coast, dropped the kids off with Grandma and Grandpa, and then I took United points and moved them into Lufthansa, which allowed me to fly through Frankfurt. And these were business class seats across the ocean. Flew into Frankfurt, because I had business class tickets, I could go into their lounge, take a shower, eat breakfast, and hit the ground running in Rome. And so we didn't lose that day in Rome. We could just go right to it. And so in Rome, I used my Ultimate Rewards points, which are the Chase trifecta points, stayed in a Radisson, and then the $760 basically was for all our other stays throughout Italy that we did it's kind of like an Airbnb kind of situation. And then I stayed in a Radisson again, different Radisson, on our way home. And that's the way we swung that. So it was really great, I have to say.
Love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And especially for a family of 4. I feel that's like,
right. That's exactly it. Like, it's like, oh, the companion pass Alaskan Airlines, which is a big deal here in Seattle. I was like, I still have to put out money. I don't want to have to put out money. No, I want it to be free.
It needs to go into real estate, right?
Right. Exactly. So this was a way to do it free. Now, I will tell you, my children prefer Alaskan Airlines over Southwest, but whatever.
I'll get over it. Awesome. Oh my gosh, Merrily, I feel like we have a lot to unpack there, and I see some things happening in the chat. So I'm going to kind of wrap up this, and then let's move to Q&A. But one thing I want to, speaking of travel, guys, we have a trip to Chattanooga coming up. It's May 6th to the 8th, and we have 22 spots left. So if you guys love conversations like this, or if you want to network and kind of talk travel hacking, talk building your net worth, learn about investment opportunities in Chattanooga, then you better get on it because we have 22 spots left. So again, that's happening May 6th to the 8th. That's a Friday networking event. We have a full day planned for Saturday. And then Sunday, we're doing property tours and masterminds. So it's going to be a really, really great trip. And we have a ton of, this is a photo from a Spokane trip that we had done a couple years ago. And we always have a fun time doing those trips. And maybe you could do travel hacking, sign up for some credit cards now, get your flights paid for, and maybe this could be free. So awesome. All right, let's move to Q&A. I see some things happening in the chat. I'm going to stop the share so that we can bring us on the screen here. And yeah, go ahead, Justin, with the questions.
Yeah, we got some awesome questions in the chat. First up here, we have one from Jessica. She asked, I found that most contractors and property managers won't take credit cards. How do you get around this?
Yeah, so the way that we get around that is we try to pay for the materials cost and then have them either pick it up, have it be delivered. And it's a little bit of a conversation around that. We've also done, I've purchased thousands of dollars in Home Depot gift cards and sent it to contractors. They put it on our Pro X account so that we can actually see exactly line by line what they're spending. But yeah, it's a little bit harder to pay a property manager like through AppFolio or Buildium. I don't know that it actually has a credit card feature there. I think everything is ACH. But yeah, for the easiest way to do it is just the materials.
Great. Mary Lee, did you have anything to add to that?
No, that's what I found too, because they want to charge you extra to process the credit card and stuff. It's just not worth it.
Great. Next up, we have one from Patrick. He asked, is there a way to pay the mortgage on your rental properties via a credit card to get the points and then pay it off with the rents?
So there is, it's expensive. You can also pay the IRS and like your tax bill with credit cards as well. You can pay property tax. I mean, anything that's a bill. Unfortunately, though, sometimes it's not worth it. I believe some of the, like a lot of the property tax payment systems, they charge anywhere from, I think, like 3 to 5%. So you kind of have to do the math and see if it makes sense. The majority of the time, I would say it does not make sense. But I know there are like third-party companies out there that do that for you. But Patrick, I don't know that I would recommend that because I just don't think that it's worth the fee to do that transaction.
Great. Next up, we have one from Celso. They asked, are these credit cards personal or under your business?
Can I grab that?
Yeah.
So I have both personal and business, but let me tell you, before I had a quote unquote business, it's very simple to go into the applications and just put that you are a retailer that sells stuff on Craigslist or eBay or whatever. And I literally have said, I am going to make $100 in this business this year. And I have gotten a credit card with like $15,000 of credit. Like, it's crazy. So it's not hard to do. And you can use your social number if you don't have an EIN.
Yeah, I agree with Merrily. I have both. So we, well, certainly we have a lot of cards. So we have a lot of, I also have the ink. I've got some Alaska Airlines business cards. So I mean, to be honest, the name of the game here for me is like mile accumulation. Now my bookkeeper, I will say on the bookkeeping side, I do try to keep business expenses, business credit card. In some instances, if we're doing certain projects, you know, we kind of let her know ahead of time and we'll do some reimbursement because we don't want to commingle funds. Obviously, when you have entities and businesses, you want to be really careful about that. But yeah, so, you know, sometimes we have to say, hey, we're going to use this personal card, but then we're going to shut it down. And then she's okay. She'll kind of do some bookkeeping magic behind the scenes on that. But yeah, I think the answer for both Merrily and I is we have both.
And my ink card is a business card, but I use it for personal, and I don't use any business for it, actually. So
wonderful. Next up, we have a question from Kathy, and I think this is directed towards you, Jennifer. Why do you have 3 Alaska credit cards? Is one for you, Travis, and Dylan?
Why not? No, as Merrily had stated before, Alaska allows you to have like unlimited credit cards. And I think I was trying to get enough miles. There's a flight that I needed more Alaska Airlines points. So yeah, as a 5-year-old at that time, she can't get her own credit card, unfortunately. She is, we do add her though as an authorized user. And so, I mean, my daughter, we could probably have a whole nother conversation about like I don't want to say somehow like financial hacking for kids. But yeah, my daughter has a Roth IRA, stock account, mileage account. She's authorized user on credit cards. So the idea is she turns 18 and she's going to be taking over the family business. So I don't know if she agrees with that yet, but we'll see. We have time. But yeah, no. So I think I don't know. I have two. My husband has one. Maybe that's how we have three.
Yeah, I was just getting them because you get the companion pass, and it's, actually when you fly on Alaskan, they usually give you the 30,000 instead of the 25,000 miles. So it's like that's when you sign up, is when you get the 30,000.
Yep.
Awesome. Next up, we have a question from Rosemary. She was basically asking, doesn't the Amex Platinum and the Chase Sapphire Reserve have a lot of the same benefits that overlap?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. But we called it to threaten to cancel, and they make the fee like nothing. So we keep them. But you're totally right.
Awesome. Next up from Erica. They asked, if you're reapplying for cards, do you just keep all the lines open or do you eventually close them?
Go ahead, Merrily.
So the way your credit score works is you never get rid of your first couple cards, because part of what they're looking at is the length you've held your credit cards. So the first couple cards that I've ever owned literally are sitting in my sock drawer kind of thing. Like I don't use them anymore, but I'm not going to close them. On the other hand, with the Chase cards or with the Southwest cards, what I do is I wait until the first year, and they have bonus miles that drop into your account. And then once those drop into my account, I call them and I say I'm going to cancel the card. And I cancel it so that I can, in 2 years, go back and get the same cards again with the bonuses. You have to wait 2 years for the Southwest cards. So I cancel them, and like Jennifer, I have a spreadsheet that has tracked all the different credit cards that I've ever gotten, when I've gotten them, when I've shut them down, so that I know when I can go back and re-up and when I'm eligible for the sign-up bonuses again.
Yeah, and I typically cancel. We've had like Delta Airlines, American Airlines, United. And if we don't fly them very often, and or we're getting close to that annual fee, the annual fee renewing, then I'll just go ahead and cancel. But I think you brought up a good point about the open line. So you do actually want to have as much of a I don't want to say credit balance, but whatever spend. Thank you, availability as possible, because it actually improves your credit. So I will say, temporarily, if you go sign up for a bunch of credit cards, please don't do this. I should mention it. Everyone probably knows this, but I'm going to mention it. Please don't do this if you're under contract on a property, because your mortgage lender is going to have a heart attack. So do this when you're maybe on a buying pause, or maybe after you've just closed, because temporarily, all of those credit pulls, guys, it is going to temporarily ding your credit. Now, after a couple of months of payment history and things like that, and then the creditors will see this big open balance, but certainly you're gonna be paying them off every month. So you're not going to have like a balance owed on these. It's actually going to improve your credit. And so it's interesting in the United States, how you get great credit is you get credit and then you use it. And so it's almost like we're, I would say, rewarded for going into debt. But in this scenario, we're talking about using the system and hacking it and saying, okay, we'll play your game to get your points, but we're going to pay you off every month and we're not going to carry a balance. But the utilization is what makes your credit score really good, right? So again, just I would say talk to if you're going to be doing a lot of loans, especially if it's conventional loans, or if you're doing anything where you're going to be buying a primary residence, have a conversation with your mortgage lender. Wait until after closing. Don't go do a bunch of this, don't go open 5 credit cards tomorrow when you're closing on a house in 2 weeks, because that could get you in some deep water. So don't do that. Be really careful.
And also pay attention to, I forget do you do the business one first before the personal application? I can't remember. So literally I would sit here with like my phone and my computer, and I'd have both of my applications set up for business and personal, and I'd hit send at the same time. And I would do the same thing with my husband.
Yes.
so that they don't cancel one another out. So
There is a strategy to do it all in the same day. Yes.
Right.
You're not under contract on the property.
Right. Right, exactly. So, I mean, it was really funny because I was all like Twitter pated about it. It was like, oh my God, they're gonna, my credit score's gonna go. But we figured it out. It's not that big of a deal. They'll hand you the credit.
Yes. And then you'll have a really great credit score because you pay it off every month. And then it'll say like available amount to spend is maybe a couple $100,000, but you'll owe zero.
Right.
So again, creditors love to see that other creditors have given you money, but that you have like a very small utilization of that credit.
And the other piece of that is if, like, for instance, if you're going to do all the Chase cards and they don't immediately approve you, you call them and you say, like, I will immediately call them and say, what information do you need? And typically they're saying, well, you just have too much credit on one credit card. And you can ask them to shift some of the credit from one card to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And they will do that.
Yeah.
Great. Wow. Such great information there. Last question I see in the chat is from David. He asked, could you pay a contractor via Venmo with a high point reward credit card?
You can, but you're going to pay interest on that. Venmo's going to charge you interest to process that. So you better need the points to go somewhere really expensive like the Maldives.
Yep.
That makes it worth it for you.
Great. And actually, we had one more question come in, which I think will be pretty important to many people here. But Rosemary asked, could you clarify the primary difference for applying for a business versus a personal credit card?
Yeah. So again, for me, I mean, I don't know how many entities. I have a lot of entities. And so if I don't want it on, I mean, I would say that they still pull personal credit, right? It'll show up because you have to give them a social security number. You have to be a person. Now there's a whole kind of other strategy with business credit. I always give my EIN, but it still asks for the primary cardholder's social security number. And so I think in some ways, maybe the reporting shows up a little bit differently if it's business versus personal. But the way that I use it is, I mean, I guess I have to consider, point accumulation, also my bookkeeper's ability to sort all this out. So again, I have business account and then business credit card. And so now, again, I can use my business credit card points and transfer them to other cards or pay for personal travel, right? Or have them pay for personal travel. But yeah, I would say the benefit is sometimes you get access to different points. As Merrily had mentioned, the Chase Inc., which I have as well, you get a lot of other benefits. Office Depot or Office Max or Staples, they have some different benefits. I think my Chase card, the annual fee is maybe $95, but I actually get a lot of similar benefits to maybe the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So again, I think what we're saying here is there's a whole variety that's available to all of you. And so I would probably start small and just kind of dip your toe in the water, maybe kind of get a cadence on how this all works. And then I've added cards based on my needs. But again, I have a lot of entities, I have a lot of businesses. And so I'm probably a little bit different than the average person. But I think somebody that's running, like Merrily mentioned, an e-com business where you're purchasing a lot of supplies and materials or product. If I was in an e-com business, I'd probably get quite a few different business credit cards in the same entity and use that to just accumulate those points and get those bonus points. So kind of different strokes for different folks. I think that there's a lot of different options here, but there's not a big overarching difference. I think it just kind of depends on the individual. But if you want to make your bookkeeper happy, and let's say you have one rental property in an entity and you have a big remodel coming up, like we've done this before, we've gotten a specific credit card or sometimes 3 business credit cards to say, okay, this is going to get me through my flooring. It's going to get me through my roofing. This is going to get me through appliances. And so sometimes we've done that as well and just put it all on business credit cards. And then the bookkeeper just says, these are the 3 business credit cards. They're tied to this bank account. They're paid, of course, from that bank account. The credit card is paid off and it's just really clean bookkeeping.
Awesome. Mary Lee, do you have anything else to add to that?
Not really. I mean, yeah, I mean, I, I don't know how Jen has it set up. She has a bookkeeper, which is brilliant, because I need
Everyone should have a bookkeeper.
Um, because I've tried to put two businesses on one credit card, and I couldn't figure it out in QuickBooks. So I might have to try to figure out how to get another card for my business. Again, it's not that big of a deal. I thought it was a big deal, and like I said, I was doing this before I was doing real estate investing, where literally I was selling my kids' toys on Craigslist, and that was my business. It worked.
Awesome.
It's a question from Sally.
Yep, Sally in the chat here. She asked, oh yeah, how do you calculate if it's worth using Chase Preferred versus 5% categories with other cards?
I don't understand the question.
Oh, how to decide what card to use, I think. I have a matrix.
I kind of know in my head how to do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I have this global spreadsheet of all of the credit cards that we signed up for, the date we signed up, the minimum spend, the bonus. I have a date of when to consider canceling it. And then I have in a note section the points that I earn based on the type of spend.
Yep.
And so I reference that spreadsheet and basically say, I mean, no, there's certain things that are kind of obvious. If you're buying an Alaska Airlines flight and you have an Alaska Airlines credit card, use your Alaska Airlines credit card. If you're staying at a Marriott hotel, that's maybe $100 a night, doesn't make sense to do a redemption, use your Marriott card, right? So there's some things that are really just obvious. When you get into the cards though that have, again, the Chase, the Amex, Capital One, Discover, it kind of depends on where you're at. I mean, sometimes I will pull my Capital One card, out of my safe and start using that if I want to accumulate miles based on a future flight that I want to do to a different country. So I don't want to get too in the weeds. I'm probably going a little bit further in advanced strategies than maybe what most people would be using for, but that's kind of how I look at it. So I hope that answers the question, and I hope that helps.
And you brought up Capital One. Be aware with Capital One that they make it the easiest, but you're going to pay more in points for your flights through them versus doing it through somebody else.
Yeah.
So be choosy about how you use Capital One.
We should probably point out that Merrily, we have not brought this up. For those that say this all sounds great, but I don't travel very often, or I don't have the time to travel. The other opportunity, guys, is I've done cashback cards. I have some Bank of America cards that if you put everything on that card and you get cash back, that's a whole nother strategy. So again, if you're saying this is all great, I don't have the time or the bandwidth, or how do you travel all of this, to like get the benefit of these points? If you're thinking that, then I would say use a cashback card. A lot of the Bank of America cards are really great with that. They have, I think most of the time, 0 annual fee as well. And so at a bare minimum, I would say that everyone should have at least a cashback card so that you can get money back from the spend that you're already doing. And then if you want to graduate to the things that Merrily and I are mentioning with travel, then that would probably be next level.
And a next level thing as well is there are travel cards that you can use so that you can do ATM withdrawals in foreign countries for free. Yeah. So without transaction fees, without all that stuff. So that's a whole other level as well.
Yeah.
And then Avery, you asked about stacking cards. So for instance, say with my Chase Inc. card, I know that I can get 5 times the points. Actually, I just did this. I know I can get 5 times the points at office stores. So I went into Cashback Monitor and I typed in Staples and I typed in Office Max and I was like, okay, which one gives me the higher bonus? I figured out which one gave me the higher bonus. And then I went in there to order ink for my printer. So I got 5 times with my card and I got another 2 points just by going through that portal with Cashback Monitor. So now I'm getting 7 times the points on my ink for just simply going through a portal. So that's what we mean about stacking. And there used to be, I haven't done it in a while. There used to be a way that you could stack, like you could go and get a Lowe's gift card and then actually get points on using that gift card through the portal. Like there was just, you can, like I said, you can go, I've spent
Can you tell that we can nerd out about this?
Right, yeah. A lot of time at midnight reading blogs.
Great. Well, I hope that answers Avery's question. I do see Maya has her hand raised. Maya, did you want to come on and ask a question?
Well, Jennifer just touched on that cashback thing. So you have to weigh in a few things. One is, Costco. If you're furnishing an Airbnb property or something from Costco, Costco has a cashback, and that's really, really wonderful for the cashback one. And also, if you're buying, sometimes getting Lowe's or Home Depot cards, you would get so much rebate, and you have to weigh in which is better, whether getting the points from some other card versus getting the rebate from Lowe's or Home Depot cards. So there's that. And then I just wanted to add one more thing. If you have a Marriott card, so again, you can stack on the, if you have a Delta, American Express Delta card, then you get, if you use that in Marriott, you get Marriott points, American Express points, and Delta points. So those are 3 different ways to get the points. And the Marriott points, you can use the Marriott points to use it for cruises too. So we did the complete circle of South American to Antarctica cruise on for 21 days, completely free. So there are so many different, this is just an ocean of a subject.
Thanks, Maya. I know we'll have to start I guess we have a forum post about it, but yeah, let's keep the conversation going because it's always changing and new things come up.
But
thanks, Maya, for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. This was wonderful.
It's our pleasure. It's fun. I think we have 2 more questions in here. Justin, do you want to get those and then we'll wrap up? I know you guys are hanging out with us a little bit longer tonight. Thanks, guys. I hope this is fun.
Yep, we got one from Joseph. He asked, are you able to write off the annual fee as a business expense?
I do. Yes. Yep.
Great. And last one here from Celso. They asked, which credit cards help build business credit and get points?
I would say any business credit card. I like the Merrily as well, likes the Chase Inc. I have a couple of Bank of America credit cards. I'm trying to think of what other business card. I would say the answer would be any business credit card that offers points.
The other thing I'd like to offer too, if you want, like I have some, I got a Freedom card because it has no annual fee and it's for certain properties where I don't expect to spend a lot of money. Like it wasn't worth having an annual fee card. Mm-hmm. So there's ways to skinny it that way where you can go and get a no annual fee card.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, thank you, Merrily, so much for sharing your knowledge on this subject that is so fun to talk about. And yeah, I hope you guys aren't feeling a little fire hosed. I know we covered a lot of different topics. We've been into, bookkeeping, banking, getting kids involved and all of that. So again, this is recorded. And if you guys enjoy this, let us know. Let us know what topics you want to learn more about. And you can post in the Facebook group, our Inner Circle members. Of course, you can post in our forums. let us know what you'd like to hear about, because we have a lot of just different fun topics. Again, this is fun because it's a little bit more light, and kind of the I think the goal that we're all working towards, right, is how do we get more freedom? How do we get more time? How do we spend time with people that we love and have our real estate funded? So love the conversation. Thank you so much, Merrily. Thank you all for hanging out with us this Wednesday night. Thanks, Justin and Diana, for manning the comments in the back end. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week, and we will all see you soon. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you all.